miscellaneous section, right? I want to start with two things predominantly, right? Two things, right? First thing I will say is, start with music, right? This album, Midnight Oil's Red Sails in the Sunset. Okay, I've always loved Midnight Oil, okay? In school, I bought these two CD singles just when compact discs first came out on the market, when this band, well, commercially, mass-wide, that is, mass-wide. It was like late 87, early 1988, when CDs first came out on the market. This is when I bought these, so, and as I was getting them at my collection and to bring through to do this video, I did take note of how dog-eared they were, and they are creased up. The older of the two even has creases in it, only by about 5 months is this older than this one, but it is noticeably older. It was the more commercially successful out of the two, so I assume the reason why this is in worse nick is because it's been played more. Anyway, right, I digress. Now I've listened to it, and the reason why I'm doing this update on what I think of it is because I did introduce it to the channel via a buy-sell video. It wasn't just a piece of media I happened to buy randomly. So I will update. And briefly, Midnight Oil. About the time 88 came, when they released Diesel and Dust, wasn't it? They went stratospheric, didn't they, Midnight Oil? Didn't they? Absolutely, absolument. Even tears going now, even it's triggered tears, she's starting to climb walls now. Very recently, I thought to myself, I remembered Midnight Oil very recently when I was in my record collection, and I said, I pondered and I thought, well, I don't want to go more modern than Blue Sky Mining. And I knew Midnight Oil had been around for ages before they went stratospheric in the summer of 88. I knew they had been around for a while. I just knew they had. I just knew they had. Now, so I said to myself, right, I'll look at the B-sides. Let's see what some of the B-sides. And I remember enjoying the B-sides. We got 3 B-sides spread over these 2 CD singles. Well, I say 3 B-sides, you know, right? CD singles, you get a number of B-sides and CD singles, don't you? Between the two singles, we've got 3. Now, we got Koshikusko, Progress, and Gun Barrel Hare. Now, I thought I looked into all those 3 tracks, and I thought, well, I want to go earlier. And the only track I could find was Kosciuszko, an older track which was also released on an album. That was what I came up with. And here is said album, Red Sails in the Sunset. Any of you out there in YouTube land with any thoughts on this album, please leave it in the comments below. Okay? I think this album is fucking brilliant. There's not a single track filler. There's not a single filler track. Okay? I did some recent repair work to the inlay. I never got round to buying Diesel and Dust. I never managed to buy it, nor did I buy Blue Sky Mining, that album. This is the first album from Midnight Oil that I have bought ever. Every single track, the album as a whole, is fucking brilliant. Now, one could say it was one of these thematic albums, like genre albums, where some of the tracks don't actually end and then to begin the next following track. Say, not remixed, so to speak, one into another, but there's like an overlap. It's very difficult to put into words, but yeah, there's like a sort of blending. There's like an audio sound in the background between the end and the beginning of that. Pink Floyd did it on their albums, didn't they, right? I didn't want to mention Pink Floyd, right? Where some of the tracks don't actually end, right, they go into the next one. I don't have the CD version of this, so I don't know what the CD player will read. But as far as the vinyl, what the needle picks up, it's just fantastic, fantastic. I think that's just the point I'm making about the album. It's just, no, it's just the way it is. It's just one of these fantastic albums. I still can't work out what point Sunesha is making by his artwork. I still can't fathom his point. Overall, it's just a magnificent album, and as I will say, when I was listening to it also, as far as being bothered about getting these modern fashion 180-gram albums, this is a 84 edition, just a box standard 1984 edition with its surface scratches and all, and it plays wonderfully. It sounds fantastic, and I play my records on a Technics 1200. Okay, my amp is something special, my stereo amp is something special. It allows me to put 4 speakers in the back of it, so I've got 2 sets of stereo speakers, but the cartridge and stylus I use isn't. So, you know, it does kind of my hardware does, which I play this on, does equal itself out. As far as getting these fashion 180-gram albums is concerned, I think it is simply down to the remastering. It's simply down to the mastering of what you turn on your table. I can't recommend the album enough. Get the 84 issues of the album. I found this bog standard online, no problem, paid just a few quid for it, including its delivery. No problem at all. It's very different to the title tracks here. It's very different. It is more in line of Kosciuszko. You buy this album depending on whether you want to or not, but ultimately, as far as I'm concerned, I cannot recommend it enough. Okay, moving on. The second of the two I want to start miscellaneous with is a movie. Okay, this Blu-ray 3D movie I found for £2 in my local pound shop. Right, £2. Just £2, including slip, yeah? This movie is an example of how movies should be made in 3D. Now, I just blew this movie off. I just completely farted it off, thinking, oh, it's not going to be as good as Rise, and it's just where humanity's all fizzled out, and you've got the apes taking over the world. A very different Caesar taking over the world, and how's it going to play with the modern world in such a dire state, and comparing to Rise, and the terribly miscast in the movie Genesis, Terminator Genesis is in it as well, and we've got just a TV movie type actress in it, and I just blew it off completely. And I saw it, as I say, in my pound shop, and I did buy it because it had slipped for £2. Bought it, and it was only when I noted over the side that, hey, look, it's actually presented in the 185, so it doesn't have the black bar. So I thought, yeah, I'll throw it on, see how it is. And you know what? It's got their endless invention, spectacular scale, and it had there, I remember looking at this when I brought it through, that title credit there, copied on the cover at the bottom here, it says truly jaw-dropping. And you know what? It is. And it's not just a story, but it's the way it's been filmed. It is how one would film a 3D movie. And it is presented, so it's editing, it's cinematography, it's timing between. I know 3D is going out of fashion now, and I know it is still quite an elitist way of watching movies, but I will say to you, if you're out there watching this and you've just completely done what I did, just after the success and the brilliance of Rise, just thought, sod it, done, for the reasons mentioned. Get a 3D setup alone just to watch it. Get the 3D disc and this. It's worth getting the 3D disc for alone just to watch this movie in said 3D. It's just, I was sat in my living room just in the world. Okay, I have a cinema set up in there. I've got a surround sound system in there. And I was just blown away by the quality of it. And I must have about 30 3D movies on disc, at least. I can't recommend this movie enough. And an ESP in its 3D form, I can't enough. Fantastic. Jaw-dropping is exactly what you read on the credits and the back. It really is. And just when you're watching it, forget all about Terminator Genesis, the movie which that dude was in. He was in Everest as well. I thought he was great in Everest, but I've been put off him, Jason Clarke, ever since Terminator Genesis. But I watched this after Terminator Genesis. Put that all aside, Terminator Genesis. Put Genesis aside when you're watching this. And I thought a great highlight of the movie was when Caesar took them back to the house where he grew up in. In the first movie. I thought that was a spot-on segment in this movie where they went back and he picked up the old cine camera, didn't he? And we saw actually the actor, the player from the first movie, the one out of Oz, him. You know, his owner, Caesar's owner in the first movie. We saw him in some of the movie footage Caesar was flicking through on the cine camera. That segment where they're in the house, which he grew up in. And it wasn't great to see it, but to see it in such a dishevelled state, and the whole road in such a dishevelled state, and the outside of the house in such a dishevelled state, covered in ivy and decay, in such obvious decay. But we could see that window when the camera looked up at the house. We could see that window, you know, with the fancy LED pattern in it, that little fancy LED pattern in the window which Caesar used to look out through. I thought it was great, but as to whether or not, I'm not really Planet of the Apes fan, but I was so drawn in by the quality of the 3D, it kept me watching throughout. And as far as 3D just being a gimmick for movies, it really isn't. It really based on how it's worked for me. It really isn't. I've only just been drawn to movies quite recently. I would say I represented people of my age group, people who are quite new to the recent 3D, people who aren't used to fancy theatres to sit in to see their movies. I would say it does enhance the movie-going experience, the movie home viewing experience, home watching experience. I would say it definitely does. Please don't let's see the dying of 3D. Please don't let's see the death of the recent incarnation of 3D. Please don't let's see it die. Please don't. There are still some releases worth watching. Hey, moving on. Disney's Lone Ranger. I will say, it's brilliant. The movie is here. I thought Helen Bonham Carter, I thought she was going to be in it a lot more. I thought the twist where the young lad at the beginning was talking to, spoilers, was talking to an elderly Depp's character right at the beginning, and then which was the following thread throughout the movie. I thought that little twist, that little twist thing which started at the beginning, I thought that played wonderfully throughout, where it ended, sort of like anticlimaxy. I thought I didn't expect Depp's character to just to get dressed and pick up a suitcase and walk out of the circus area where he was talking to the little lad. I didn't expect it to just end like that. I thought something else, it would end in a different way. Let's put it that way. I don't know what I was expecting, but I just thought it would end differently than that. I thought the drama throughout I thought the pacing was great throughout. I thought it was thumbs up. I don't know what all the fuss was about, all the negative fuss was about. It was obviously made for a 3D market. Obviously, I could tell by the cinematography it was. The way it was edited, the design of the whole movie was set up for a 3D. It was disappointing to see it as a result in 2D. It was so obviously played out and filmed for 3D audiences. It was so obvious. I pushed all that aside, that I was able to watch it, and the actual movie itself did keep me throughout. I will say, the only negative is I thought that Armie Hammer's portrayal of his character, I thought he looked completely different than the 50s, 60s TV version of the Lone Ranger. I thought that said Lone Ranger, the TV version, the black and white version we got in the 50s, which I wasn't around to see, right? But, you know, someone of my age does remember it quite well. I thought he was like, let's put it away, the TV version, that guy playing the Ranger was short and stocky, whereas Armie Hammer, he's like tall and lean, sort of thing. As handsome as a devil as Armie Hammer is, I wouldn't say he was also miscast, I wouldn't also say that, but he just he looked different. It was noted in my mind that he was different. It was a different looking Lone Ranger. I can't quite decide whether that's a good or a bad thing, but yeah, okay, moving on. The train chase, one could say, the train chase at the end of the movie. If that wasn't so farcical, I think if that wasn't filmed in such a hammy manner, if it was filmed more for dramatic thrill, sense of dread, as if there was some kind of jeopardy involved, like a sense of danger for the characters, rather than simply just for carry-on ham play, for toilet humour play, then it may have ended up with more of a stronger thumbs up for myself. I thought the end could have been played more serious for drama, maybe sense of jeopardy for the characters involved. Blu-ray watch is wonderful, it's a great transfer on the Blu-ray. Again, I don't know what all the fuss is regarding 4K at all. Beyond me. 4K, beyond me. So that's Disney's Lone Ranger. Great, brilliant, thumbs up, strong thumbs up, yes, strong thumbs up. I was gladly enjoyed that. I was gladly pleased with it. Gladly pleased with it. This one I've introduced in the previous bars of Paul Walker's Brick Mansions. I will say the reason why I bring it for this miscellaneous is one comment only regarding it, because I think there's enough said about Paul Walker. I think we need to lay him to rest, to be honest with you. This is probably his best movie. In my opinion, this was probably his best movie. Really, take or leave my comment. This movie to me is probably Walker's best. At his best. Yeah. He has the most things to say. He has greater quantity of lines he delivered in this. A greater screen presence, more screen presence than he ever had in the Fast and Furious films. He spent longer on the screen than in this than he ever did in the Fast and Furious movies. It had more dialogue in this than he ever did in Fast and Furious. He had great dramatic presence in this. He held the screen better than he ever did in Fast and Furious. The camera seemed to love him more in this than they ever did in Fast and Furious. Overall, I feel this was his best movie, Rick Mansion's. The way his interaction with his fellow players within the movie, his characterization, interaction throughout the whole of the movie, it was just so attractive throughout, so pleasing to watch. It really was throughout, all the way to the end. It was just, yeah, it's just such a shame. Yeah, my favourite movie overall of his. Favourite. Took me a while to sit down and watch it, but yeah, favourite movie. I finally got the slip for this 3D version, the IMAX version, the IMAX edition of Transformers Age of Extinction 3D. I finally, unfortunately, when I bought it new originally, there were no slips. I have reversed the artwork. There were no slips. When I bought it, it didn't come in a slip cover. Didn't come with one, even though there was one issued with the IMAX edition initially. There was initially, and it had the word IMAX there in text, and it has IMAX written amongst the text here, etc. There's some text regarding the IMAX edition in the read up there as well, on the back of it, slip. This being the bog standard Blu-ray 3D lenticular, I was only able to find on its own. I searched for a long time online to try and find just the IMAX lenticular on its own for sale. I couldn't find it anywhere over a great period of time I was looking. I couldn't find it anywhere on its own. I had to buy it. I did find it, but only with the IMAX edition, and I would have had to have bought it again. So I just thought sod it, because it had the same artwork other than the word IMAX there. And as I say, blah blah, I don't notice all that little tiny print there. I just thought sod it, plump for that, just the stand 3D lenticular. And to be honest with you, who's going to notice? It's in pristine condition as well. Finally got the slip for this edition. Okay, more miscellaneous. Okay, got this. I'm going to take it out of its sleeve, out of its armoury. It doesn't warrant space on my shelf. This movie, I don't warrant it. Doesn't warrant it. But I'm going to keep it. So I've nearly come to the end of my wallet, my Blu-ray miscellaneous wallet. See, I've nearly come to an end. See? Stop skitting. It's not bad, that. For a late night, when you just like throw something on in the background and you want to listen to music as well, you know, if you're doing something, don't stop skitting. It's not bad. It's not bad. I've seen a lot worse. A lot worse. This was the one I got, just seen online for 50p or a quid even. Genuine. It has the hologram. It has this nice Sony hologram. Defender. I'd sooner see Woody Harrelson in this, let's put it that way, than the Planet of the Apes sequel he was in recently. I haven't seen that, but I've seen enough of that online to note that I'm not going to watch that. Well, I shan't be watching him in that. But you run out of space, don't you, on your shelves at home? It's just, you have to put something, you have to take something off your shelves, don't you? Another one I just bought for the disc. Another one for the miscellaneous world. This was just a DVD. I got sent. It was. I ordered it. It was listed as DVD. It was a DVD, just without the case. But immediately, by the colouring on that side and the lack of certain text you get on the inner. They can print them really well on the front of them, can't they? On the face of the disc, they can really print them up well, can't they now? I haven't been bothered sending it back. It wasn't even Chris Hemsworth, did it? They just CG'd his face, not even his whole head they CG'd on. They just took his features. I thought it was a bit mad how's he been able to do this, sandwiched in between all his Marvel movies, where he's got, like, you know, the Thor physique. So, yeah, it's not even it. He was slimmer down in the Ghostbusters sequel in 2016, but you could still tell that was him. And he did the In the Heart of the Sea, Ron Howard's In the Heart of the Sea, and you could still tell that was him. You know when someone's had the CG treatment, you just know, don't you? To be honest with you, I'm throwing that out. It's just, it wasn't, if it was a 3D edition, it's just, I'd keep, but that didn't get a 3D release. Did not get a 3D home release. Didn't get a 3D home release. Men in Black International, didn't. I will say 2 things left. First of the 2, this one I've managed to see. The 3D is brilliant in it. If you like your anaglyph 3D, yeah? With the old red and blue paper glasses. If you like that 3D, which this movie was made for initially, yeah. I had to buy this from France to get it in the digital 3D. If you like that, you know, certain movies, 3D movies are actually released in the anaglyph style, and the Blu-ray 3D, they've come over, and certain companies, if they want to reissue the old anaglyph in the digital 3D form, Blu-ray 3D form, then they will actually respect, so it still looks like watches like an anaglyph 3D, but with 3D digital, the recent 3D digital, with the recent 3D digital technology thrown on top. So I will say, and whether it doesn't look, it's not any better or worse, alright, than a movie made for the current digital 3D market. I wouldn't say it's better or worse. What I'm saying is, the manner in which its style is in, yeah, I will recommend this to people, fans of the anaglyph 3D, yeah, one for the anaglyph 3D connoisseur, definitely so. 3D is just great. I could spend forever on here saying things, but that is definitely recommend that for people who are fans of the old anaglyph 3D. Great 3D, wonderful 3D. I had a smile on my face all the way through watching this. Wonderful, wunderbar, wonderful stuff. And lastly, folks at home, I will say, because I opened this in a visor, I will say, great stuff, but you can tell it was from the guy who did this a few years earlier, Clash of the Titans CD. Ramin Djawadi, music composed by Ramin Djawadi. He did this a few years prior to Warcraft. Top of my head, 6 years, 5 years, without looking at all the text. And you can actually tell, I was a fan greatly of this soundtrack. So when I got this, I was sort of like let down by its similarity. I will say, word warning, if you're a fan of that, you will have to give that chance, Warcraft, the Warcraft score. You would have to give that chance for you to get used to its slight differences and to create its own character in your own mind. You'll have to stop listening to this and let this sink in over a few months before you go back to listen to that again, if you ever want to be able to enjoy both. If you're a fan of recent movies, buying up the OSTs for recent movies, you will find that will sound a lot like that. I can only suggest to do it the way I've just said there, to get used to this on its own for itself, and you can actually work yourself around to actually holding these both in their own steam, so you can actually feel like listening to one or the other. It will take time, but you can actually train your mind to actually distinguish between the two. But initially, at first, you will say to yourself how these two could have been from the same movie over, say, a double vinyl set with slight editing and mixing. One could actually hold these two both in the same movie in your mind, in your mind's eye. You could actually think so. Why he did them so similarly, even with me trading my own mind to hold them with different steam, I will still say why he made this so similarly, why he did this, and they are very similar, they are very similar. But great stuff, great stuff, great stuff, great stuff. That's Clash of Titans. This is ages old, this. I don't even think I've showed this before. It's in reference to this, why I am. Great stuff, oh great stuff, wunderbar, wunderbar. Okay, over and out. Still haven't managed to start reading this. I'm that close to finishing off my reread of into the book which the recent movie Everest was made from. Into Thin Air. See my bookmark there? I'm that close to finishing rereading it. Yeah, great. I'm loving it even second time round, even more so. And then I promise I will get back with that. Alright. I'll start that. Okay, that's it. That is the end of this one. This miscellaneous section. That is the end. Come to the end again. I hope I've kept this under an hour. I've probably done this in 3 parts. I hope I've kept it. I hope I have. I've kept it for under an hour. Thank you for bearing with me and watching the vids. Thank you very much. And I'll catch you again soon. Alright. Over and out from the box.